It's 13 past 3. 131873 is our open line number. Well, it is official. The Labor jobs for mate story. Well, it's now the Josh Murray affair, isn't it? The Josh Murray affair. Because Joe Haylen's mate from the Labor Party was given the top job at the Department of Transport, worth more than almost 600 grand. So a $600,000 job for Joe Haylen's mate from the Labor Party. A recruiter that was paid $125,000 of our money, taxpayer money, to do the work said that Josh Murray wasn't up to the job and shouldn't progress to an interview. Joe Haylen's chief of staff intervenes and says, yep, Josh should be interviewed for the job. He is then interviewed by a panel of 3 public servants, and Josh Murray is still not the top pick. But lo and behold, Joe Haylen gives him, her mate from the Labor Party, the job anyway. Now, I want to run you through the developments today, because Josh Murray, I reckon, has let the cat out of the bag here. He said this when he was interviewed by my colleague Ben Fordham this morning.
You say you saw this job ad. Did you just spot it or did someone send it to you?
It was publicly announced. I saw it, and other people also sent it to me because of my experience.
So you were looking for a job at that time?
I wasn't looking for a job, but I saw it like many of your listeners would understand when you're on portals like LinkedIn or other places. They come up, yeah, and I did see it and I read it because it was very interesting.
But who sent you the ad, the job ad, Josh Murray? Who sent it to you? Was it your mate? Joe Haylen's chief of staff, Scott Gartrell?
Okay, those who sent you the job ad, anyone in government?
It was shared with me by a large number of people when it went live because of my experience in the transport sector.
Who in the New South Wales government sent the job ad to you?
I'm not going to go through that because it was a range of people, but I think some of that's been captured in the papers.
Was it anyone in the Minister's office or anyone in the Premier's office?
It was shared with me after it had gone public and everyone had access to it. So okay. I can only assume that it was given to a number of people.
All right. There's no point in sending people to newspapers. You're on the radio right now. You may as well answer the question.
Sorry, not the newspapers. I mean these papers that have been taken.
Who sent you the job ad from within the New South Wales government?
I received an update from the Chief of Staff saying that that job was live. And
the Chief of Staff in Joe Haylen's office?
Yes, that's correct.
Yes, his friend. That Chief of Staff is Scott Gartrell. And Scott was Carmel Tebbett's Chief of Staff when she was the Deputy Premier of New South Wales. At the same time, Josh Murray was Chief of Staff to the Premier at that time, Morris Yammer. So they're good mates. Long-term colleagues. So my question is, was that contact appropriate? Was it appropriate for Josh Murray's friend in the Transport Minister's office to send the job ad to him, suggesting that he could be the next boss of the Transport Department? Was it appropriate for Josh Murray's long-time Labor mate to intervene in the recruitment process to ensure that he was interviewed for the job, when the $125,000 recruiter made the calculation that he would be, quote, a significant risk if employed? Now, we all know that it probably wasn't appropriate, but for some reason, Labor thinks it was totally fine. Totally fine, according to Chris Minns and Joe Haylen. But if you listen to the now Treasurer, Daniel Mookie, when Stuart Ayres sent a job ad to John Barilaro via text message, well, that was outrageous.
The contact between the two of them was inappropriate, it showed poor judgment, and it should never have happened.
That was 12 months ago when Labor was in opposition. And that contact that Daniel Mookie spoke about led to Stuart Ayres losing his job. But today, Premier Chris Minns, he took a completely different view. Nothing to see here, according to the Premier, because when it was his own Transport Minister's office alerting their mate from the Labor Party about this job, well, that they ended up giving to him, he wasn't all that concerned.
The job ad is a public piece of information. I mean, there's no suggestion that this was a secret government document. Presumably it appeared in a newspaper.
Is it just me, or is the Premier in the New South Wales Labor Party dripping with hypocrisy at the moment? So just to make my point crystal clear, This is Chris Minns 12 months ago talking about a taxpayer job that the coalition handed to their friend, John Barilaro.
Surely we can do better than jobs for the boys, jobs for the mates. We have to put the public interest first and the interest of the libs, and that's a distant second.
So Chris Minns outraged when it suited him from his ivory tower of morality that merit and fair process was subverted by the then Perrottet government. He was outraged. But you know who was the outrager in chief? Daniel Mookie.
What this affair shows is that after 12 years in power, the Liberal and National Party think that public money and public positions are their toys that they can bestow on whoever that are their mates and themselves. There has to be a change in New South Wales.
Well, the more things change, Daniel Mookie, the more they stay the same, because that is the now New South Wales Treasurer, whose greatest hits album includes songs you might know like No More Active Kids Vouchers for You and Back to School Vouchers are being scrapped because we need to save money. That's all Daniel Mookie's done so far. Yet the same Treasurer sat and watched as his Transport Minister has wasted $125,000 on a recruitment process that twice ruled out Josh Murray as the right candidate for the Secretary of Transport for New South Wales. And that money, our money, taxpayer dollars, was spent and the advice was blatantly ignored. I can keep going, right? I can just keep going. I've been going through the 2GB audio library all day because the fact that this mob can't see the hypocrisy is quite frankly embarrassing for them. Should I keep going? All right, how about we do one more? Here's one more. This is Joe Haylen on Monday defending the process of hiring her mate Josh Murray from the Labor Party to the big transport job.
That process was a proper process undertaken by Premier and Cabinet, and that is usual for significant and important jobs like this one. This is a complicated job, and I needed to reassure myself and the government that we were testing the market across the world.
Across the world, says Joe Haylen. Across the world, she reckons. A global search. And the answer just happened to be her Chief of Staff's mate from the Yemma government and a member of the Labor Party in her very own Graindler conference in the Inner West. Where have I heard someone criticising global searches before?
Apparently they conducted a global search for the best person to represent the interests of this state. And who knew? He was here all along. John Barilaro got the job.
Who knew, Chris Minns, hey? The global search, who knew? It was just down the road. Just down Parramatta Road. Josh Murray was there right under your nose the whole time, Premier. It's too easy. As I've been saying, none of this is corrupt. Look, I don't think it's probably not breached the ministerial code. It might have, but it may not have. I'm on the fence about that. But look, what I am convinced of is it's not how good government operates. And the arrogance from the Transport Minister, and quite frankly, I'm very, very disappointed at the arrogance from the Premier, Chris Minns. Because the fact that they think that all of this is hunky dory, it's just not. And I'll tell you what, maybe the Premier should take his own advice.
Surely we can do better than jobs for the boys, jobs for the mates. We have to put the public interest first and the interest of the libs, and that's a distant second.
In this case, the interest of the Labor Party, a distant second, Chris Minns.